So word on the street going around right now with how the SEO game is changing is that Google is now looking a lot more at UX. UX is a jargon industry term for user experience in terms of being one of the big components that Google is looking at. SEO will never die, even though as much as it looks like it. You go to Google, and for the most part, you see advertisements, and you see a bunch of ads popping up, taking up almost all the space above the fold. Above the fold is basically the term that we use for the real estate at the very top of the screen without somebody having to scroll down. That would be the all-important real estate of above the fold. So mostly the ads now take up that space, but there's always going to be an organic section, a section where a website can pop up for free without having to pay for that click. Because if Google doesn't have that, then there's nothing that really separates them between the yellow pages and classified section, something like that, between a search engine. So they have to have some sort of organic section. So what are the search engines going to look for, or should I say Google, because Bing and Yahoo pretty much copy everything that Google does. So what is Google looking for now? They're looking less and less at links because there's all sorts of different ways that people can still game the system as far as links go and buying links. The main thing that Google's looking at now is content and user experience. So the big thing they're looking at is the two things that really can't be gamed. They can't be doctored. Producing good content is something a website either has or doesn't. So those are the two main things that they're looking at. They're for competitive keywords that are out there. You have big SEO companies that are out there right now where customers are paying them a lot of money, and they're trying to figure out, how do we come up with the best content possible for a keyword that's very competitive? How do we come up with content that is better than our competitors' content? How can we come up with content that users would prefer to look at our website versus somebody else's website? So they put a lot of time and energy into doing that. And that can be a successful way of popping up, but for most small businesses with a smaller budget, they can't afford to pay a couple $1,000s for companies to write content in the hopes of maybe one out of 30 articles actually works and actually pops up pretty well, getting a bunch of traffic. So for a lot of small businesses, the key thing is to produce content for long tail keywords, content for specific keywords, content for keywords that do not get a lot of competition. Come up with text and information on how your company can help somebody with whatever that specific particular keyword is. Voice search is becoming a bigger deal. Most people get more specific with Siri and Cortana and OK Google and Alexa and all the other voice assistants that are out there. They get more specific. They don't just go, hey Siri, auto repair. They don't they don't do that. They don't go Siri, taxi. They're specific. They're specific with the location. They're specific of my car broke down. I think it's the radiator, or I need a taxi quickly to my 5-star hotel, or I need a car service here to this small airport so I can go in my private jet. They're getting more specific with what they're talking about. So having content for all those specific terms that are out there is what's so important. And the content can be brief. The content can be to the point. It's popular when people go to Google and they're looking for how old somebody is. They go to Google and they search for how old is Nolan Ryan, and then Google will give the answer. So a lot of times when people are doing searches either by voice or on their computer, on their phone, they just want basic information like, I have this need and who can help me out. So you don't have to have a ton of content going into a ton of detail for the long tail keywords. You just need to let people know, hey, for this I can help you. I can help you for this and 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 all those other things too. So a lot of the SEO work is really about keyword research and figuring out a list of keywords that would be good to target in a custom way. That's sort of a lot of the reason why people pay us money is for that keyword research, to figure out all these other keywords that people are searching for that would represent their services and their products. User experience being the other big deal. What is that user experience would be, basically how people respond when they're on the website. Like, do people leave immediately? How many pages do they click on? Do they scroll down through the page? Different things like that. They also look at click-through rate. Click-through rate is the number of times that people will see your website advertised on the first page of Google divided by the amount of times they click on it. So usually a good click-through rate would be maybe like 3%, 4%. So if you have 100 people that search for something on Google and your website shows up and they see your website and 3 of them happen to click on it, that basically means your click-through rate is 3%, which actually is pretty good. You might think that 3% is pretty terrible, but it's pretty good because people can be selective with what they click on. So Google will look at the click-through rate. They'll look at bounce rate, which is whether or not people leave from going off your home page. Like, they go to the home page, they don't even click on anything, they immediately leave your website. Google considers that a bounce. So they look at different things like that. So that's really the future of SEO. It's not buying links. It's not coming up with all these different tricks and all these different ways of gaming the system. Google's been trying to get away from that for years because they don't want people to be able to game the system. They want it to be all about the user experience. So in this case, when you're talking about SEO, the main thing that you really want to focus on is content more than anything else, because if the content is good, then the user experience will be good. People go to the website, they'll react positively to the content and what's on the website. So content is the main thing that matters. Figuring out the keywords and coming up for content for those particular keywords. If you want to get clicks on Google free without having to pay them through SEO, going forward, that's going to be the way to do it.